influencer?
Truthfully, nonsense. For me, influencers aren't real. We think about influencers as people who have hundreds of millions of thousands of Twitter followers, but that's not influence. Influence comes from our people. The most influential people to us are the people within our networks, our friends, our families, our coworkers, our people. So as a marketer, if we want to identify influencers, find the networks of people that they're ascribed to and who those people are. Otherwise, you're just wasting money for media or a more contextualized media. But at the core, the way we think about influence is wrong.
Okay, you have 20 seconds, so I want to ask about influencer payments because
Okay.
they're charging a lot of money and clients are paying this money. Why?
And they should, because they're media. If you're going to spend dollars for Twitter ads, for Facebook ads, for television, for print, these guys are providing distribution on behalf of your messages, so you should pay them just like you pay those guys, because you're not paying for influence, you're paying for reach.
Okay, cool, right on the money. Big data.
Everybody's doing it, but nobody's doing it. There's that Dan Ariely quote that it's like teenage sex. Everyone talks about it, everyone acts like they're doing it, but no one's really doing it. But they say they're doing it because everybody else is doing it, but no one's really doing it. They're just dry humping, right? Like,
Okay, whoa, Marcus. Well,
that's big data.
Okay, it's a family show.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough.
Okay.
That's big data. And I think about data. Data it's super powerful, but oftentimes under leveraged, right? We think about, because we have all this information on people, all this third-party data on people, we think we really know people, but truthfully, we don't. Right? As marketers, we're actually kind of suck at understanding people. Just because we have information doesn't mean that we have intimacy, right? That we know who they really are. We know them based on demography, and if we're really good, we know a little bit about psychographics, but not really why people do what they do, why they act the way they act. So when we look at data, they only increase our confidence, not our accuracy. And that's problematic if that's what's going to inform the communications and creative we come up with.
Okay, all right, another minute. Storytelling.
There's no words more powerful than once upon a time. And we've been telling stories since the days of hieroglyphics. However, we act like it's a new thing. And it's not at all, right? As much as we love telling stories and branded storytelling and storytelling, I don't think my daughter will ever say, hey, Dad, can we put away Goodnight Moon and tell me one about Sprite? Like, this is not going to happen. Right? So ultimately, we're not telling brand stories, we're telling people stories. The stories that people want to talk about, the stories people want to tell. And truthfully, because we have entered the age where we realize the power of telling stories, the people who actually tell stories for a living, i.e. publishers, they're doing a better job at our job than we are.
Do you think the word is used as a crutch too often?
I think it's the buzzword du jour, right? So in 2 years, it'll be something else. It'll be like hyper storytelling or something.
Mega
some hyperbole of storytelling.
Okay, another minute. That was my favorite. Thought leadership.
I love this word.
Are you a thought leader? Start with that.
I would like to think that we all are, right? To some degree or another, I like to consider myself a thought leader because I think, and I like to consider myself a leader. You put those two words together, ta-da. But truthfully, I think that anyone in a leadership perspective shouldn't just be leading people, but should be also thinking about how we see the world and how we operate in the world, right? The lens we have of the world shapes the behavior that we take on. So as leaders in organizations, we should all be leading thought. It's oftentimes, much like all the other buzzwords, it's something that's kind of ascribed to who we are. I'm a thought leader when it comes to programmatic and blah, 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 blah. But truthfully, we're just kind of regurgitating the words that are used prolifically as opposed to really changing the way we see the world as marketers.
Are thought leadership budgets going up inside agencies?
I hope so.
Okay, all right. Another minute. Native advertising.
I feel like native advertising had its day in the sun a couple years ago, maybe 5 or 10 years ago, where everyone was like, let's be native. Like, no overt branding and no overt messaging, but all about native. But again, none of this is new. It's not new at all. And my take on native advertising is that, sure, great, fine, call it what you want to, call it, pink and blue if you want to. But truthfully, it's about how do we get the right messages to the right people within the right context so they can take on a behavior.
Does native advertising still work?
Well, I don't know how native advertising is. I mean, I think people are far more savvy when they say, people are more and more savvy when it comes to brands and where brands show up. So they know the little kind of thing at the bottom that says sponsored by so-and-so. They're like, oh, this is BS. Like everything I just read is null and void. So I think that the idea of native advertising has probably ran its course for most people. Now it's just advertising sans the native.
Okay. Okay. Oh, millennials.
This is a family show, so I will try to censor myself. It's
And I'm
BS.
also right here.
It's nonsense. Millennial, it's the dumbest thing ever.
Wait, millennials are the dumbest
No, no, no,
thing
no,
ever?
no.
Oh, okay.
The concept of millennials is ridiculous. Again, we know we don't understand people. We look at millennials and say, oh, here's a group of people born between this period, so they must act the same way, talk the same way, do the same things. It's nonsensical. It's demography-based description of people. It's like saying that all moms do the same thing.
Fine, but that's fine. But brands are actively asking you guys, asking agencies to target millennials. I'm going to pivot. The amount of times I get a pitch saying, I'm going to pivot my brand to reach millennials.
And it's ridiculous.
Okay.
It is a mythical, it's a giffen. It's a mythical creature, right? This is a group of people who were born within a time frame that we're going to ascribe as a monolith. It's like saying all black people do something fill in the blank racist. It makes no sense. Just because you were born in that time frame doesn't mean you do the same things just because you were born in that time.
Okay, amen. Viral.
It's a rate, right? It's
Okay.
the exchange over a period of time. The greater the numerator, the smaller the denominator, the more viral it went. And I think that it's mostly looked as exchange between eyeballs across a node, a communicative node, or something that's heard. But I think we're looking at the wrong thing when we think about virality. So virality being a rate, what we're really after is cultural contagion. How things stick. They become a part of the way we talk, what we wear, what we do, where we go, how we buy, with whom we do it. Those things are far more powerful than just the rate that something is shared, right? So if we think, and it's interesting because we use the metaphor of epidemiology, virality, as a way to describe the spread of things, but epidemiology is mostly concerned with not just how things spread, but how they actually take root.
Okay, great. Fear.
Ooh, fear. Often undervalued. I think fear is the feeling where you're by yourself, you seem like an alien in a lot of ways. But that's the thing, I think, for me, at least lets me know that I'm on the right path, right? If it's comfortable, if you've been there before, if you know the answer right off the rip, then you're probably going the wrong way. But when we embrace something that makes us feel super uncomfortable, it's usually a sign that we're charting new grounds as thought leaders.
What are agencies fearful of the most right now?
A lot of things. Reduce the scope, perhaps even the disruption from other people who do what we do. If you think about us as being content creators or idea generators, the BuzzFeeds, the Vices, the Complexes of the world getting at our scopes. And then clients finding ways to do what we do better than we do it and more efficiently.
Virtual reality.
Interesting. It's one of those things where it's what we can do, not necessarily what people will do. Oftentimes we see these changes in technology that feels like it widens the aperture or opens up new canvases for us to create new ideas and new innovations. But as interesting as it is, there's still quite a bit of a delta across the diffusion curve where people are adopting it.
How much of it is a shiny new object syndrome?
Majorly that, because we haven't seen people, it has become ubiquitous, right? I don't think it's as bad as like QR codes. Remember QR codes was like the thing?
Oh no, I'm a millennial. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Exactly.
I'm
Right,
joking, I'm
QR codes was the thing. I don't think it's there. I think it has far more gravity or more possibilities than QR codes once were,
Sure.
but it certainly is the shiny new object.
Have you seen more clients asking you to think up things for this?
No, but I've seen more agencies saying, let's come up with something VR so that we can get a Cannes Lion. That'd be awesome.
Okay, this is true. Content studio.
Content
Give
studio.
me a definition first, because I have no idea.
So it is the facility that manufactures content. And I guess, wasn't it always called an advertising agency? Right? Like content are communicative nodes, right? And we've been making content since forever. So the idea that we're like, let's create a content studio makes it seem like, well, what have we been doing all this time?
Why do people do it?
Because it's the shiny new buzzword. It's on the bingo sheets.
Is it?
And that's what I'm sure it's somewhere out there. Because that's what clients want to hear. Content marketing. Oh my God, it's a new shiny thing. So
Okay.
everyone's going after it. But truthfully, if we were in the business of publishing or producing content like publishers, how are you going to out-publish a publisher? And if clients really wanted content at the fidelity at which we talk about it, or which agencies want to do it, wouldn't clients just say, well, let me go to a BuzzFeed, a Complex, which is why those guys are making hay.
Agility.
It's like a cousin to content studios, right? It's like we want to be fast and agile and be able to move, but we're talking about companies who are very fearful, brands who are very fearful about being that agile. So it's like, be agile, but temper it a little bit, please, not that fast. Right? Instead of 6 weeks lead time, how about 2 weeks? That's pretty agile for us. Great, great, great. I think that when we see the Oreos dunk in the darks of the world back in 2013, everyone was like, I want that. Give me my dunk in the dark. But what it takes to do that, people don't necessarily want to do it. It's like everyone wants a six-pack, but no one wants to do crunches. So they want that. They want to say we're agile, but to go through the work to actually be that takes a lot of dedication and commitment.
Do you think real-time marketing is dead?
Again, I don't think it's dead.
Do you think reactive tweets along big tentpole events are dead?
I think that clients are realizing how nonsensical that is. Like, how does it actually impact my business? So I pay this extra money, additional scope to get my agency all in the room, and all these people in the room. We got snacks and big widescreen televisions that I built for this one moment in life. Just for that one tweet. And how did it actually impact the business? Not so much.
This was amazing. Marcus Collins, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.